What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Nissan Z fans are excited because it's been over a decade and finally the next generation Z is coming. There is so much nostalgia going on as Nissan decided to go retro with the first generation's 240Z front and 1990s 300ZX rear. They also decided to go back to a 3-liter V6 twin turbo, just like the 1990s 300ZX twin turbo. And there is an option for a 7-speed automatic or 6-speed manual transmission, which I know manual enthusiasts are very happy to see. As much as I want to see the Z succeed, there are known issues. So I'm giving you a heads up if you're looking to purchase a next generation Z. So Nissan, if you're watching this video, I would like for you guys to fix these issues before the next generation Z comes out, because we all want to see it succeed. We've been told that the next generation Z will be using a heavily updated 370Z platform. I'm not even sure what the updates are or what that means, but the dimensions seem to be very similar to the 370Z, except the length, which is also slightly longer on the next Z. Nissan calls it a front midship design, which centers the mass of the engine behind the front axle centerline for better weight distribution with front engine rear-wheel drive layouts because, they tend to be nose heavy. From the looks of it, the Z will still have its blind spots right behind the headrest area. Owners have complained about visibility, but since it looks to be very similar in design to the 370Z, it's probably going to remain being an issue. My suggestion is to add those small little blind spot mirrors onto the sides of your side mirrors. They make a heck of a difference, especially on all the cars that I own. There are complaints that the 370Z had insufficient brake cooling while driving spiritedly, which caused brake fade. There are several reasons behind it, and I think the main one seems to be that the 370Z's small grille opening doesn't allow enough air to enter to cool the brakes. Some solutions were to change the brake fluid and channel the air towards the brakes to help with cooling. This may not be an issue with the next Z because it has a large opening to help with cooling and those huge GTR front brakes, which I think are just for prototype purposes. I would expect to see what's used on the 370Z, which for the base trim received 2 piston calipers in the front with 1 piston rear, and for the performance trims, 4 piston calipers in the front with 2 piston rears. One thing to take note of is that the Infiniti Q50 and Q60 uses 4 piston front and 2 piston rear calipers. They both are heavier than the upcoming Z, so this may be the standard for the Nissan Z since it's most likely to produce 400 horsepower also. So we'll see what actually shows up with the production version. The Z will have an option for a 7-speed automatic and 6-speed manual transmission. Let's start off with the 7-speed automatic first. It's not a dual clutch transmission, it's a traditional automatic. They're most likely going to use the same one from the Infiniti Q50 and Q60. The 370Z also used a 7-speed automatic, but comparing the two, the one used with the VR30 is much better, but it isn't a very intuitive transmission and stubborn at times to shift, so hopefully Nissan updates the logic behind it to be more responsive and sportier. The next generation Z will also have an option for the 6-speed manual transmission, which they will be pulling from the 370Z. It's great to see this being offered for manual enthusiasts, but there is an issue. Owners may find themselves stranded and unable to shift smoothly because of the concentric slave cylinder, which randomly acts up. In order to fix it, you'll have to replace the $300 to $400 concentric slave cylinder. Easy, right? Well, no, because you need to add the expense of having to drop the transmission, and then there's the hard decision of whether you want to replace the clutch with an OEM or something like a twin disc, since you have the transmission off. A clutch can range anywhere from $400 and up, so you may be spending around $1,000 on the minimum, or if you decide to go for that twin disc, it's gonna even go beyond $1,000. So it's not a very nice situation to be in. And I don't think anyone wants to be in that situation, not having a car and having to spend thousands to fix something so simple that Nissan should have taken care of from the factory. This is such a common issue that there are multiple aftermarket kits available to fix the problem for the 370Z. Hopefully Nissan changes the design to something like an external slave cylinder for ease of maintenance and replacement. The next issue is the subframe bushing that the rear differential attaches to. It's been known to get damaged for no apparent reason, so if you notice something that looks like a greasy leak on the subframe, then it's most likely going to be that bushing. In order to fix it, you will need to drop and replace the subframe, or remove the subframe and replace the bushing only. Fortunately, there are other aftermarket options available that make it easier without dropping the subframe. The Q50 and Q60 uses a rear differential called the R190. It's not interchangeable with the classic R190 from the Nissan Z car. There is also no OEM limited slip differential offered for the R190. The 370Z rear differential is called the R200 and is available with an R200V, which means it has a viscous limited slip differential. There have been spy shots from underneath, and the next Z looks like it may be using an R200V. Notice the rear diff cover also has cooling fins. I don't know if this is a prototype only thing, but there are offerings from Nismo for a rear diff cover with cooling fin. It would make total sense for them to use the R200 since the next Z is using an updated 370Z platform which already uses it. The R190 seems like the oddball rear diff to use since there's not a lot of OEM final drive and limited slip options. The Q50's R190 uses a 2.94 final drive with the 7-speed auto, which is really low. There is no 2.94 final drive currently available for the R200. The lowest I could find is from the 370Z with 7-speed automatic, which is a 3.357 final drive. So they might be compensating for this by changing the gearing in the transmission if there's nothing available for the R200's rear diff. It would be interesting to see the acceleration differences between the gearing. Being positive, I'm sure the next generation Z will be a success, but these are just a few things I'd be cautious about first before purchasing one. I owned a 1990 300ZX twin turbo, and it's good to see that they're bringing back the turbos. I'll be making another video about the upcoming Z's VR30 DDTT's strengths and weaknesses, and a VR30 DDTT upgrade path and cost video. So hit that subscribe button and notification bell, and also hit that like button to support my channel. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one.